Hey guys, so I'm back in Velvet Hair Lounge today, and for today's demo I'm going to do a makeup tutorial on how to cover redness, blemishes, acne prone skin, or even if you just a few hormonal breakouts. So any type of breakouts or redness. Quiva is my model today, and I'm going to show you a look that's going to neutralise any discoloration and not highlight any texture on the skin. Okay, so one thing that's very important is to have a very smooth texture. So often when you're using treatments, you can have a little bit of peeling on the surface of the skin, so make sure that's all gone. So I'm doing a double cleanse on Quiva's skin, just to make sure all that dry skin is gone. And then moisturising, you have to make sure that the moisturiser is completely oil free. Okay, so I've moisturised the skin and I put on extra moisturiser, and I'm going to give that a few minutes to soak in. What I'll do then is I'll tissue off the excess and then go in with the primer. So just while I'm waiting for that to settle in, people who've asked me questions about rosacea, I can tie this makeup tutorial in with that a bit. So if you've the second type of rosacea, which is papular or pustular rosacea, this will actually work for you as well. The first type of rosacea, which is like little broken capillaries under the skin, that can be treated with IPL laser. So it breaks down and coagulates the little broken capillaries, and they disintegrate. So that will help treat that type of rosacea. So a good daytime foundation to use would be a mineral-based foundation like the Liz Earl or the Bare Minerals, and it has good coverage as well. But for today I'm going to do something that's a little bit more high coverage, and it's long lasting because Quiva's heading away on our holidays, so this would last a good 12 to 15 hours on the skin and be full coverage. So the primer I'm going to use today is the Professional by Benefit. This helps to minimise the pores on the skin, and it gives a smoother texture, and it helps the foundation go on easy. Start off with some colour correction, and what I'm going to use is a liquid concealer. The reason I don't use the pot ones is because they're a bit too waxy and they give a bit of slip on the skin, so I prefer a yellow toned liquid concealer. So I'm patting that yellow concealer over any areas that I want to neutralise the redness, and I'm using a pinky tone concealer under the eye. I'll get you to look up, and this will neutralise any discoloration. So I have to make sure that all the products I'm using are non-comedogenic. Comedones are block pores that you'll see. Blackheads is another word for it. So make sure they're all non-comedogenic. So the foundation I'm using is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid. It wouldn't be an everyday foundation, but for special occasions it's perfect. So I'm going to apply that on her skin in a stippling motion. So this foundation is very buildable, and what I'm doing afterwards is I'm going over the skin with a damp beauty blender, and this smooths out the texture and makes it look a lot more skin-like. Okay, so before I set that with powder, I'm going to let it set a bit because I don't want the powder to move it. So I'm going to use my La Roche-Posay Thermal Spa Water and spray that all over the face. You can close your eyes there. Now, so I've prepped her eyes and done her brows while I'm waiting, and now I'm ready to set it. And what I'm going to use is the Vichy Derma Blend powder. So I'm going to take a brush. You can use a brush or a powder puff. So what I'm going to do is use a press and roll motion. So I'm not going to remove anything that's on the skin. Just press and roll the whole way around. So now I have finished the powder. I'm going to go over it again with the Thermal Spa setting spray, and I'm going to let that set again for a minute and start some eyeshadow. So the eye look I've done is quite basic. It's similar to what I did last week on Carrie's if you want to go check out that video, but this time instead of using MAC I used the Sleek products instead. So I did the same technique, and those of you that have been to my masterclass will know what I'm talking about when I say I used these first as the transition shade, then I went in as the second shade, the contour shade on the eye. Then thirdly, I went in with this as to darken it up on the outer V. And then I've just put on some mascara. This is the Sleek Eye Divine palette. It's usually about €12, but I got it for €5 in McLaughlin's Chemist yesterday. And this is their face shape one, and it was down to €5 as well. So I'm going to use this for contouring as well. So when you're using contouring shade on skin that has texture, you have to make sure that it's a warm shade. If you use a cool tone shade, it'll show up more texture. So I've done a subtle contour there with slightly warm contour shade. And for the blush, I'm going to use a peach shade. Now, people who are prone to redness stick with the peach because peach won't highlight any more redness. You don't have to stay away completely from pinks, but it just stops it showing through. Now for highlight, I'm going to use the Sleek Face Form palette again. And be careful with highlight that you don't put it anywhere where there is any blemishes or anything. You just want to put it just very high points on the face. Okay, so that's the finished look on Quiva. I've kept the tones to the makeup quite peachy and warm, and got great coverage there on the skin.